Yo, what is going on, everybody? Danny, Boy, Reginald back with you for another edition SIP on SIN, sponsored by our good friends over at the Dugout of Millwood. We appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for always joining us. Speaking of the Dugout of Millwood, no Billy Boy today, so our good buddy, the old ops guy, Mark Halpern, decides to help me out. We really appreciate you, Mark. How's it going, man?
Well, long time no see, Dan. Just yesterday, I feel like we were talking about the days of your. Oh, wait, we were talking yesterday. Well, here we are. I get to come and join and be on the pod that started it all. It's fun that I get to fill in, whether it's for you or Bill. It's fun to get to interact on other things. So I'm excited to be here.
For those that are still fairly new to network, old ops guy used to be on SIP every week, and it was a joy to have him until obviously the scheduling conflicts just didn't work out anymore. Um, So it's always a treat to have him on the original pod, and it's always a fun time. Um, but again, thank you, Mark, for joining us.
Absolutely.
Weekend recap here. Nothing crazy. We do have a lot of news to get to. Um, but first we start with the MLB scoreboard. Again, we um a man weekend for the Yankees. They go into that. I can't really complain too much, but you know, it is what it is. They lost in 10 innings to the Braves 2-1. Um, Yankees gotta get their hitting under control. That's the bottom line. We mentioned this on Batter Up, and we're gonna keep pounding it. The pitching has been awesome, but the hitting sucks.
And being able to be on the show, I get the chance not to just always speak Mets. I actually get to talk other teams.
Right.
Um, actually was watching this game yesterday, and because I was at a birthday party and my son was running around and the game was on. I was watching the game with a few people. And Dent said correctly. I mean, pitching was phenomenal. Great pitching. I mean, against an Atlanta team that usually keep putting the ball in play. But
Mhm.
here's the sum of it. The Yankees have to do the same thing. They have to put the ball in play, or the pitching goes for naught, so to speak. So if I'm relying on something on the Yankees, and I hate to say it like this, Dan, it's the pitching that's got to keep them in it because there's no way this lineup is going to survive it.
Yeah. And the reality of the situation is, while it's exciting to have Lombard have a crazy debut week, while it's exciting to see Spencer Jones start to get into his form, while it's exciting to see Cam Schindler have a Cy Young season, the bottom line is, if the Yankees don't do everything else right, and I know they're without Judge, I know they don't have Cody Bellinger, but if they can't do everything else to put themselves in a position to win, it's impossible to be a champion. And that's what it's all about. So, but they did take two out of three of Atlanta, a good road team in the Atlanta Braves, good team in general. The Braves have over 70 wins. So the fact that they were able to sneak out two games, um, it's very impressive stuff. But again, the I'm just not necessarily happy with the run totals. That has been plaguing them for like last month. Um, I know runs weren't a problem for the Mets yesterday. They won 11-1 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sean Manaea getting another win. He's 4-5, a strong 4-5 with a 4.13 ERA.
It was a great start by Minea, and what's more importantly for this is the Mets are only going to be playoff spoilers unless they can keep going on this trend of winning every series out of the gate. I mean, right now they've won back-to-back series, which is great. The thing that impresses me is that since Luis Robert has come back from the injury front, he has been on fire. And I think he was really getting hot right before the trade deadline. The Mets were trying to find somebody to, for him to trade for, but then they realized something. You
Yeah.
got AJ Ewing, you got
Mm.
Carson Bench, and you got Luis Robert Jr. That's your center field. Luis Robert Jr. has a 20-year play team option. The Mets are going to keep him. There is no way they're going to let this young outfield disappear unless something, drastically happens. Other honorable mentions, Simeon, who's been on a tear, 1 for 4 with an RBI. Francisco Alvarez finally has got over 250 on the year. Another home run and another home run and 2 runs scored. I mean, this catching duo of Louis Torrens and Francisco Alvarez, and I know Dan's heard me speaking uh, on the on the pod on Sundays, is a great core. I just don't know how much longer Luis Torrens has in him. But right now, it's a great one too. And then you can't not give a shout out to Bo Bichette, who went 5 for 5 yesterday. Had a really awesome day with 3 RBIs. But the Mets can only play spoilers, and to a team like Pittsburgh, who is only 2 games out, now they're 3. So that's pretty much what happens for anybody who faces the Mets right now.
Yeah, and that's what it is. The Mets at this point are trying to figure out what 2027 is going to look like. You mentioned Torrens. I think he's a good ball player that needs a little more confidence, and over time. You mentioned that strong outfielder. It only gets strong with Soto. It's they're not too far off. They're
For me, Soto will become the DH at that point.
yeah. It's just pure bad luck for the Mets sometimes.
Mm.
You know,
Yep.
because on paper, they should be contending. That's the reality, but they're not. And the National League is pretty strong, so
Correct.
that's the rough part. Pirates fall to 58-62. Mets, uh, they move up to 52-67.
Ooh.
Well, what a wild stuff. Nationals sweep the Reds. They beat them 7-1 on a Sunday. I love this one. The Athletics beat the Red
Yeah.
Sox 4-3.
And back-to-back games too. The Red
Yes.
Sox fall.
Yes.
Kind of surprising too. I mean, the Red Sox went with one of the I call it the Tampa Bay Ray game pitching games because you start off with a 1 inning reliever and then you got a bunch of relievers.
Right.
That still wasn't the reason why they lost this game.
Hmm.
It wasn't the reason they lost the game. The reason they lost this game is they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Besides
Hmm.
Eddie White going 3 for 4 and Jesus, looking at it, the guy who pinch hit who's hitting 476 got on. There was really nothing from this Boston team. And you look at the Athletics and you want to know what the Athletics did. They did very small things, but everything they did amounted to a run when they had runners in scoring position. That was the key here. Running in scoring position.
Yeah, and I think the A's, I didn't watch too much of this series because, again, I don't necessarily care about the A's. But what I will say is what was very impressive was one, limiting the Sox to 3 runs on Sunday specifically, and also getting to Aroldis Chapman, which is incredibly tough to do. So,
Yeah.
kudos to them for sure. The A's taking the series in Boston, the hostile environment, Fenway Park. I'll have to say.
Yes.
All right. The Derek Hill and the Philadelphia Phillies beat the Blue Jays in 12 innings, 7-6 with a walk-off hit. The Phillies, they've been turbulent of late, not necessarily playing the best baseball, but they did salvage their series against the Blue Jays. Blue Jays ended up winning 2 of 3 there. Um,
Hats off to Schwarby on his 2 home runs.
yes, massive. Massive for sure. We love Kyle Schwarber. Look at the Marlins, man. 12-3 over the Angels.
Not going away either.
And I
They're
know
sticking around. They're fighting.
And I know it's Anaheim, but still, like the Marlins are still tearing up the National League right now.
even with giving away Liam Hicks.
Yes. Uh, Incredible stuff. Cubbies over the Royals 10-2. White Sox over the Guardians 5-3. Uh, Brewers 4-3 over the Twins in 10 innings. Cardinals trying to make a playoff push 7-4. Winners over the Rockies. The Orioles salvaging their series in Texas 10-5. Pete Alonso getting into another action again. So good to see the Orioles doing their thing. And of course, we talked about this another team. Just because the American League is so weak, the Tigers still in the playoff mix after their victory over the Giants.
And again, I'm going to say it one more time because I can. Why you trade your number one and number two pitcher when you're only 2.5 games out? Well, maybe they know something I don't. But to see them stick around and fight, I'll give it to them. They're clawing themselves their way in there.
And they just don't have any quit, man. They understand that there's still a chance, and they really want to try to get at it. So like I'm very impressed. Very, very, very impressed by this Tigers team. They have won now, I believe, one, two, three, about 4 games of their last seven-ish, something like that. Sounds about right. Um, um, since the Scooble trade, which puts them in the mix still.
Right. And how about Arizona? Speaking about the Scooble trade, Arizona beating the Dodgers. The Dodgers have not looked good
Yeah.
coming out of the gate in the second half.
Well, I mean, you had two blown saves, right? From
Yes.
Edwin Diaz on back-to-back nights. Now they did win the second game that Diaz blew, but that was an extra innings. So they had a tough time even getting that run to cross.
So, I mean, we all know the Dodgers will be there, come playoff time. But what I'm seeing right out of the gate is, I mean, when I say right out of the gate, at the start of the second half, I mean, after the All-Star break, is not what I would expect of the LA Dodgers.
They're one for their last nine.
I-
It's
I-
it's rough,
yeah,
not good.
that's why it's helpful to get out to a nice early lead. So if you run into problems, you fix them when you can.
You don't want, and look, the Dodgers are probably going to win the division, but you don't want to give the Padres, who have been playing well, they
Mhm.
beat up. We'll give you the score in a second. Beat the crap last night on Sunday Night Baseball. You don't want to give them any reason to think they could beat you in the playoffs. You don't want to give Arizona any reason to think that they could spoil you in the playoffs either.
I mean, the San Diego Padres beat Houston 7-2 last night.
Tatis with a bomb again.
Finally, and it's only taken, he's finally starting to wake up. Vladimir Guerrero hasn't hit home runs, but he's starting to hit. So
I think that's 2 home runs in like the last, what, 3 games
three
for
games for
Tatis?
Tatis, yeah, for
Yeah.
Tatis. And if Tatis is getting hot and they start to pitch around him, and there's a guy by the name of Manny Machado who's right behind him, who's a very, very good hitter. And if you're
Mm.
going to think you're going to be able to just get around Tatis to get through Machado, not going to be that easy. Even at his age, he can still lace a single to any part of the field.
Yeah. Like
It's not about the power anymore.
he's an RBI machine for a reason. So
Yep.
yeah, well, it's at some point we all knew that Tatis was going to go off. We just didn't know when. I didn't expect it to be this late, but better late than never. Randy Vasquez goes 5 strong innings, had a strikeout, only 2 earned runs. Um, And again, it was the Padres offense that you don't necessarily have the best pitcher on the mound, so the Padres offense had to do a little more, and they were able to get to the Astros. So that was a pretty good stuff. The Rays lost to they beat the Mariners 4-1. Which again, not necessarily something that I want to see. And I think we can declare the AL East over, you know.
I, I, in all talk at the beginning of the season, we all said the playoffs are just going to be filled up with the AL East because at that point, all four teams looked
Hmm.
unbeatable.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rays we knew were going to be there somehow. The Red Sox were really the wild card team of this whole AL East, and I think the Yankees were lucky enough to get out to that lead, so they had this nice, I want to say, 7 game lead in the wild card standing. But they're not winning a lot of games, and that number used to be in the double digits, and it's slowly coming down. The Yankees need to win some games, but if you're going to allow certain teams to creep their way back in, Toronto's not going anywhere. They might have lost, but they're strong. Seattle, Tampa Bay is going to win the AL East.
Mhm.
I think Tampa Bay is the strongest team in that division. No offense, Dan.
And look, it's something that I don't want to say, but the Rays just they find ways to win. And again, they're not world beaters, but they still find ways to win. Tough news for the Rays, though. They placed Griffin Jacks on the injured
Yep.
list with elbow discomfort. Um, 15-day, but you see right elbow discomfort. It gives you a bit of a cringe a little bit.
You start seeing that first letter. You start seeing that T. We all know, and this goes for anybody who's had a star pitcher on their team, and it's pretty much every team. When you hear pulled for right arm, and that's the arm he throws with,
Yeah,
right arm elbow discomfort, that's a short way of saying, well, he's done for the year. It's Tommy John surgery time.
yeah.
So I hope that's not the case because I happen to like Griffin Jacks. I think he's a great pitcher. I mean, I hope that's not the case for him, but usually Dan is right. You start thinking, Tommy John.
Yeah.
And
It,
and,
it,
and
it,
and what team did Tommy John play for?
Yankees.
And now that you can all blame the Yankees for you having your elbow problem.
Yeah. But by the way, real quick, shout out to Tommy John. He did. I didn't realize how sick he was. But he did release his sort of farewell message to Yankee fans, for Old Timers Day. It's such a sad thing saying that he thanked Steinbrenner family and all the fans and everything for the career. Thank the doctors for saving his arm, that of course revolutionized baseball and pitching and everything. And he's in hospice care right now. So sending a major shout out prayers up to him and stuff. Um, so it's a good thing we mentioned Tommy John there. Um, not good for the Griffin Jacks, but still, like if I'm the Rays, like I'm not as concerned, but it is kind of tough when you have one of your pitchers in the rotation out there. Not
Normally you're hearing paging Dr. Andrews, paging Dr. Andrews. You got another MLB team calling.
exactly. The 15-day IL is retroactive to Thursday. He was scratched from Sunday's start. Um, Another person we had to keep an eye on, Hunter Green, and we didn't mention this on Batter Up, but um, he is getting a second opinion after he's gonna have the season-ending elbow surgery for a partially torn uh ligament in his right elbow.
Right, which explains why he was not moved during the trade deadline.
Yes. Um, I feel horrible for the kid. He's only 27 years old. He's a rising star in the league. Um, and you hate to see value like that go down a little bit. I mean, obviously, if you're the Reds, you know, you obviously lose him for this year. And then going into next year, depending on how bad or how serious, I should say, not bad, how serious the surgery is, you may lose him for next season if there is a next season.
Um, yeah, I was reading about that about Hunter Green on Monday, meaning today, meaning this morning. And no, we didn't mention it yesterday because we really didn't know, to be honest. I don't really think this was released until late. Dan's right though. This is a kid who's had originally was going to be a closer with the organization. That's what he was being brought up to be. But he showed so much more agility that they ended up transitioning him from closer to long reliever, and then long reliever he became a starter. And
Mhm.
he had a promising end of last season is when he really started to come on, and then this year has been great, and then this. I wish him all the best, but now you're 27 years old. You're definitely done for 2026. As Dan said, we're still floating that notion of 2027. We don't know yet.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. If there's a lockout, I ain't playing. Like,
Right. You
yeah,
know, it hopefully there isn't. And whether he's able to come back or not remains yet to be seen. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But all the best to Hunter Green on that as well.
yeah. I mean, I was hoping that second opinion would come out to sort of like what they did with Tanaka. It's like, okay, well, you don't necessarily need surgery. You can probably get away with little therapies here and there, and whatever the heck Tanaka did to still be very effective. He got
Right.
a torn ligament in his elbow. But look, sometimes you just don't want to take any chances. And because he's so young, it's probably smart that he's going to get this surgery. I think the doctors made the right call. I think he's making the right call. And the Reds will be better for it.
It's a good organization. You know, obviously has a lot of star power on a young team. So this isn't the end of the Reds. Trust me. They're only going to keep getting better.
Yeah. So that's your MLB front. Which is one more thing real quick. How about Jacob Wilson? Again, another young stud for I'm about to say Oakland A's. It's so hard not to say Oakland A's.
Yeah, it's so hard not to say Sacramento or Las Vegas yet.
Like I'm just not there with it. But he has set a record, Mark, with 111 errorless games in a row. Like,
That is beyond impressive. I made plenty of them. I made plenty of errors.
I
I
mean,
was never error free. That's hats off. That I mean, there are no words to express that eliteness in such a young kid, and such a young ball player. Don't want to say kid.
yeah, the reality is that at shortstop, which is a very tough position, like I've tried shortstop before because I thought I could be Derek Jeter or A-Rod. Didn't quite work out that way. But the cool part about, shortstop is, if you grow into one of the great ones, like a Bobby Witt, who's
Hmm.
becoming a major star, he's the best shortstop in the league. Like, there's no question about it.
I don't disagree.
It's a tough position though. So the fact that he hasn't made an error at shortstop for 111 straight games, you're talking dating back to July of 2025. That's very impressive thing. Like
Yep.
for sure. So, give him a lot of credit. Um, Baseball, big time series coming up for Boston. They're in Toronto. The Mets are in Atlanta starting tonight.
Need a series win here. Don't
Mhm.
have to sweep, but just need a series win.
Yeah. And then of course Atlanta, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a rough patch. Like, the Yankees are a good team too. Of course, they're not necessarily they're playing average, but still. I
Hmm.
think I think Atlanta can bounce back. Uh, This is a big series for the Cardinals. They're at home facing the Phillies.
Mm.
This is a big test here. Phillies are like on the cusp of falling out of wild card contention. If the Cardinals could continue their hitting ways and their pitching ways, and if they're running into a Phillies team that really truly is struggling, this could be the week where we're like, well, maybe.
I mean, the Phillies did a great job in the trade deadline. We spoke about on yesterday. They just seem flat at the moment. And
Yeah.
right now, when teams are going through that transitioning, this is where you go and attack.
Yeah, it's certainly huge for them. And again, like I said, Philly's got to get back on track. They did beat the Blue Jays yesterday. Hopefully, that's a confidence booster for them. The Dodgers have to beat the Kansas City Royals. I'm sorry. Like, what are we doing here?
They need a spanking, not meaning the Dodgers. I mean, well, yes, the Dodgers need to spank the Royals. They need to regain that eliteness and show who they are. Because right now, they look like an average team.
I'm just shocked by the way they're losing games. You know, the pitching isn't great, making mistakes on the field, power isn't quite there. It's astonishing.
But
Like,
yet, it's the Dodgers.
oh my goodness gracious. Um, and then of course you have the Tigers as well. They're facing Cleveland. Just to give you an idea, um, the Guardians and Tigers are so close to a playoff spot. There, Tigers are a game out, Cleveland's a game and a half out. So there's a big series for both teams because this could see we will really see who's really in the mix after this. And of course, we
Oh,
don't even know because of course the American League is just weak.
uh, Dan just said it right there. The American League is weak, and this is a series I'm going to plan on, paying a little attention to because it's two teams, like Dan said, they're within a half game of each other going into heading into those wild card runs. Let's see who wants it more.
Yeah. And of course, they'll be praying that the Texas Rangers, who are facing the Angels, will
Yeah.
lose their games, which I don't think they will, because
As Mike said, as our good buddy Mike Rifkin likes to say, the wings should be gliding them all weekend.
yeah. Oh God. All right. More MLB coverage tune into Batter Up. I'm sure Rifkin will do something midweek, as he always does. Um, and if not Sunday, we'll do a
You
weekly
go.
recap. Mark, you know what this week is? Besides all this craziness in baseball?
Um, Yeah, does it have to do with a hog and it turns into an oval and we put some laces on it?
Yeah.
There we go, baby.
Some teams already had soft launches with practices at their own stadiums. And now we get to put on pads and face other teams for real. Football, baby. You
And
know?
everybody knows that this network is very huge on baseball. We are very big baseball fans.
Sure.
But I would love to run our podcasts through. It's very close which edges each out.
Mm,
Which would I mean, look, Dan and I are the big basketball guys. Mike, Nate, Noah are the big hockey guys. But
yeah.
we are all baseball, football mega fans.
Yes. Football is the one that really truly brings us together here at the network, whether we like to admit it or not.
Right.
So, I mean, me and Bill do a whole segment where we're just picking games on Friday. So it's like, there's a reason why football is king, even though baseball is my favorite sport. Football's king for real, and it's back this week. The Jets play on Friday, face the Bucks. Where are your Cowboys at? I didn't see their schedule.
My Cowboys will be playing the one and only Seattle Seahawks. They'll be in Seattle this weekend. And no, Dak Prescott will not be out there because Dak Prescott has to drive Tony Romo to his grandma's house. I still have to make a joke about that for a little bit.
Oh my.
Yeah, we won't see you won't really see the first string of
No.
the Cowboys at all during this preseason. They're not going to risk anybody, but you'll get some hints of Caleb Downs, you'll get some hints of Jadon Blue, to see what the backups are. Look for the blitzers stuff that will be coming out in roughly about 2 weeks. So we'll have the breakdowns of what all our teams are going to do, as Dan will be talking about LaGuardia Airport, because that's where his jets are going to be parked all year.
Yeah. Essentially, because you know what, why even fly out of anywhere in the tri-state if you know you're gonna lose games? Like it doesn't make any sense. Um, no, dude, like I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it. It was good to see the Hall of Fame game
Yeah.
on Thursday. Look, it was a bunch of scrubs. It wasn't the first team, you
Yeah,
know.
it wasn't diverse teams at all.
But don't tell me watching Haynes King go into a game-winning touchdown situation running 5 yards like that doesn't excite you for football. Like it does, man.
It it's the start, and it's there to that. Not to call these guys scrubs, but these guys are not first stringers.
You
They're
know what I
fighting their
mean.
way. Yeah, they're fighting their way onto the team. So yeah, they're the guy hanging out in their passenger side of their best friend's ride. As they're driving out of the parking lot. But then give a great thing, a winning game drive, at the end of for a rookie. How about Malik Davis taking it for 53 yards? JC Horn had, getting a little tryout on the offense with 44 yards. How about Carson Beck?
He
Had
looked
a
good.
pretty much flawless game.
Good.
If this is indications of what we're going to be looking at, I mean, obviously Carolina, we know there's a whole different plan. But Kyler Murray is no longer in Arizona. That quarterback spot, in my opinion, is anybody's shot. And if anybody deserves a shot after watching Carson Beck go 15 of 19 in a touchdown, he better get a look.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? Brissett that's still there? You know,
Yeah.
like,
Sorry.
you okay?
Yeah, my freaking computer just screwed up on me again. I'm
All
here.
right.
Just keep going.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, look, you know, at the end of the day, like it's just fun to watch these players play, and it's fun to watch football again. I do think Carson Beck, by the way, it won't happen early on this season. I think he gets his shot midway through, and he has a look. He has a good coach in LaFleur, you know, that I think is a good offensive mind that I truly believe will get the best out of it.
Yeah, I have always bid for first round quarterbacks, even if they're drafted in the third round, is always to carry a clipboard that first year. But I also understand the amount of money revenue you get when you start a Shadur Sanders and a stuff like that, and you get the
Yeah,
fans in. And I'm just picking out Sanders as just the rookie QB from last year. That's all I'm using it for.
yeah.
So I'm just saying you'll gain a lot of monetary value out of him for just his name being out there.
Yeah. Of course, to me, like it doesn't really matter when they start playing because you're never truly really ready for your moment. Like it's something that comes with time. Whether you play early or whether you're on the clipboard and you get your opportunity later. Like,
And I can say this confidently for Bill come opening night, that Monday morning SIP, Bill will be wearing the bag. It's okay. The bag has existed for this reason. It's okay.
oh my God. Well, I hope for Billy Boy. He does not.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, I know. Poor Bill and I have been going at it Dallas Giants ever
You
since I've been
know,
part of the network.
and look, John Harbaugh is one of the greatest coaches ever. it's good to have him run your team. So there's that for Corpus Christi. Here's another thing
Mm.
for Corpus Christi that both of you can actually share some
Mm.
excitement in, even though it kind of sucks to see this guy go down. Laramie Tunsil, the left tackle for the Commanders, he tore his triceps over the
Yeah,
weekend,
that's a season injury.
and he. So here's what the Commanders are saying that they're trying to be they're trying to delay the inevitable. He's going to miss significant time so that he can recover from tricep surgery. Mark just nailed it. His season's over.
His season's over. I've seen a number of Dallas Cowboy offensive linemen go through it. We saw Trent Williams go through it a couple of years ago. I believe one of the Watt siblings had it. It's hard to remember which one. This is not a simple recovery. You're talking about a muscle that's responsible for holding half your body up.
Yeah.
So significant time. You hear any coach before the season begins and they use the word significant time, that's them trying to figure out how they're putting him on the season ending IL.
Yeah. Look, it sucks because the reason why they got Laramie Tunsil was to build what they thought they were building after Jaden Daniels' rookie season. They went to the NFC Championship game. They were trying to build off of that.
Yeah.
And it hasn't quite worked out that way. One, because Jaden Daniels is hurt, and two, now Laramie Tunsil's missing time.
And that leaves it. And losing Larry Tunsil, one thing I want people to understand is this isn't losing a guy. This is a guy who was brought in to
Mm.
be that blindside protector for Jaden Daniels. Now that's gone. So right now you can put the rookie of rookies out there with a free look at Jaden Daniels. So you got to find, and that's not easy to replace.
Yeah, they're saying it'll be Brandon Coleman. He
Don't know him.
I don't know how to explain it. He was
Something tells
okay.
me he was a Jet.
No.
Just the
He,
way
he,
Dan was
he
going into it.
no, he when in Tunsil's absence, he has started left tackle. It's and they're not planning to look outside the organization. So it's going to be Coleman. That's a tough ask to do. Laramie Tunsil's one of the best tackles in the league. Like
Yes.
it's a tough one to replace. So it's
Yep.
best of luck to the kid. I'll tell you that much.
But yeah, that's a season ending automatic.
There. And I know that they're trying to keep fans like, somewhat. He's not coming back, guys.
No, not this season at least.
It's over.
Yeah.
We wish Larry Tunsil the best in his recovery. Big news out of New England. Hunter Henry signed a extension worth up to $20 million.
And
That
it's
will
well deserved.
Yeah, that it's going to keep him as the big time tight end, the number one tight end option for Drake May, who has developed a great relationship with him. They're best friends off the field, um, and they have great chemistry. It's a no-brainer move for the
Yeah.
Patriots to keep him around.
If one thing I can say about Hunter Henry, I always pick him up late in fantasy drafts because he has become the Chris Carter. All he does is catch touchdowns. This guy, you can guarantee almost a touchdown a game.
Yeah.
I mean, and the rapport, like Dan said, he has with young rookie Drake May is a good one.
Hmm. I did not realize he was 31 years old.
I thought he was much older, to be honest. I thought he was at the end of his career. I mean, he's not at the forefront of it. Being a
Oh,
tight end, your body goes through a lot. I say he still has at least a good 3.5 years left in the
yeah.
league. So I mean, any quarterback will tell you. You get somebody you have a rapport with, you look to them more than the guy that's getting paid $50 million more to the guy.
Yeah. It is a 2-year extension. Like I said, worth over $20
Mm.
million. The base value is 16 million. Um, includes about $4 million signing bonus and 14.5 million in bonuses, guarantees, and all that other stuff. Again, it's a
Yeah.
no-brainer move. He's coming off a tremendous season in
Yup.
2025. And you look, the reality of the situation is that you need big time playmakers, and he's a playmaker.
Yep.
So no-brainer move by the Patriots. Like I said, football is back this week. I'm so excited for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And you'll keep in tune for the network because we'll let you know the day
Mhm.
Sunday sideline starts breaking in.
Yep. Now, I know one person that won't be at any of these football games. Teddy Bridgewater. He's decided to step away from the game again in the retirement.
Mind you,
Well, it wasn't really,
I'm glad Dan said again because I was about to say it's not the first time he's done this.
yeah. And I know he wasn't really a factor with Detroit or anything. Um, but you know, it's like whatever. Like, you know, uh,
A little fun news: Ezekiel Elliott has turned in his Dallas Cowboy silver and blue for the blue and silver uniform of a Dallas Cowboy of a Dallas County police officer. Ezekiel Elliott will report to the police academy this summer, and he's
okay.
going to be a cop. He's giving back to the town that served him so well. So, hats off to you, Zeke. Good luck and stay safe.
That's just such a random thing.
Yeah, well, mind you, I get random stuff on my computer, but I get notes about everything about the Cowboys, and I'm like, hey, there you go. We're talking football. Let's talk something out. Throw it out there. But it's pretty cool to see that he's going to become a Dallas police officer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know if this is just a prank or whatever, but yeah,
It's no, it's true. It's not a prank. It's true.
I'll believe when I see it. Um, Good to see Eric Bieniemy back at Chiefs camp. I know he's gone through a tough time with his wife
Life,
recovering
yeah.
from gunshot wounds. Of course, we know we in Washington we were covering it like it was nothing. Um, you know, I'm just glad that he's in better spirits, that his wife's doing okay, that she's gonna recover and
Right.
and that he can focus on the season because the Chiefs brought him back to bring back that offensive spark that the Chiefs have been missing for quite some time. Let's be real about
Hmm. I mean, Kelsey's married now, so the pressure of having her at the stadium and him screwing up should be over with.
it.
He
Yeah.
should be back to form.
Well, all we could hope.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
that's the NFL. Me and Bill will talk more about preseason. We'll preview Giants and Jets on Friday. Um, well, real quick on the NBA, a couple things to look out for. Um, I know Ben Simmons is expected to be a full participant with no restrictions at a player-led private minicamp for the Australian men's basketball team, with his eyes set to get back to the NBA. He did not play
And
last season. Um,
I mean, I know they all said Ben Simmons was the second coming of, well, he could be known as Kangaroo Jack for now. We'll worry about it when he comes back.
yeah. I don't know, man.
Uh,
Like, look, he's recovering from injuries. He hasn't necessarily been the best player, really hasn't been that it guy lately. Like, maybe like 5, 6 years ago, seven, maybe. But like, he hasn't been a factor in any team that he's been with. He last played for the Clippers. Several
Right.
teams have expressed giving him a minimum contract. look, if he's really serious about getting back to the NBA, he has to really lock in because he
Mm,
hasn't locked in a long time. And again, I know injuries were part of it, but he also hasn't played well.
right.
And him going MIA, doing his own thing, ain't going to help. So there's that. Um, a couple of sad notes here. We talked about Memphis Grizzlies forward Brandon Clark dying earlier this
Yeah.
summer, which was again just a rough thing. We've now found out it was the effects of heroin and cocaine, which is uh, when you hear something like that, Mark, like it's tough to see.
It's horrible to see. You know, I wish I had the talent to be able to say I played in the MLB. I was good enough to play whatnot. I was never going. Trust me, 5'7", 170 ain't playing in the in that Major League Baseball. But back then, drinking and drugs, that was one thing. Today, there's so many things in place to help players. If there's something, with injuries, I know we know how easy it's to get hooked on painkillers. And when you can't get that, it leads to other things. We've seen it with players who've left baseball. We'll throw out an easy name, Doc Gooden. I mean, unfortunately, still is admitted he does cocaine. However, with the lethal ways, and I can speak of this as being a pharmaceutical technician, the lethal ways cocaine is made these days, it's not that hard to overdose on it.
Yeah, and not only with the overdosing, but you know, I don't know where he got his drugs from.
And we don't want to know because the last time we all dug
Yeah.
deeper, we found out it was Matt Harvey who gave it to Tyler Skaggs. And
Mm,
that was a knife to the heart.
like it's tough because it's just tough to know that drug addiction's a part of this. For such again, there's such an outstanding ball player.
Wouldn't even know it.
Crazy enough. But it is effects of cocaine and heroin and we it's a PSA, just stay away from that stuff. I don't know how tough his life was or whatever, but stay away from that stuff, man. It's not necessary. Um this is more it's sad, but it's also a celebration of life here, Mark, as we remember the great Don Nelson, who passed away at age 86. It's the second winningest coach in NBA history. Um, Family announcing that he passed away on Sunday. Our beloved husband, dad, grandfather, and great-grandfather Don Nelson peacefully went to be with the Lord, surrounded by his loving family. Throughout this last week, friends and family encircled him with love, sharing the blessing of his friendship and revisiting treasured memories. 31 NBA seasons as head coach.
I mean, what else can be said about Don Nelson that Dan hasn't already said? I mean, the fact that he also was a five-time NBA champion as a player.
Yep.
Don Nelson is what basketball really became. Look what he coached. Look how many championships he won. Look how good he was, and look who he influences players. I mean, a lot of coaches will go down in history at one point in time. Don Nelson was one of the greats. I'm glad he went peacefully. He had a great life and one to celebrate.
Yeah. He coached the Warriors twice, coached our New York Knicks for a time being. Obviously, we know him from the Dallas Mavericks days. At least I do, because I'm a young fan, so that was my first memory. Um, Bucks, all those other teams. Again, like I said, this the second winningest coach in NBA history.
Yeah.
Um, he retired with the most coaching wins ever. Of course, Greg Popovich owns that now. Um, and he Hall of Fame coach. It's one of the master classes of basketball that I've ever seen in my life.
Hmm.
And he made a lot of players. He mentored a lot of great players. So,
Yeah. We'll just throw out one. How about Dirk Nowitzki? Just to throw out
mm,
one of them.
yeah.
A very special coach. May he rest in peace.
The Boston Celtics, he played 11 seasons, like Mark said, and won 5 NBA titles. Celtics extend our deep condolences to Nelson family, loved ones, and everyone who he touched through his rich, impactful life in basketball and beyond. And it truly a remarkable career. We're gonna miss him, but it's a celebration moment because of what he did for the game,
Agreed.
for the many decades that he was involved in basketball. So there's that. You know, it's always good to have Mark join me for a great edition SIP.
Always a pleasure to come on when I can.
If you like what you're seeing, why wouldn't you? Because this content is great. Me and Bill always tout how awesome all of our shows are on this show. Please subscribe to our channel. We really do appreciate all the new subscribers that are coming. I think it's like 30
Yep,
over the past
32
couple.
new subscribers. I
Yeah.
also we want to give a shout out to RBI, Hat Trick, and Top Notch Sports Club, as they have been a very influential part in sending members our way. And we also like to thank Bill Murphy, who has also been out there. While he's out, not here right now, he's out
Yeah.
there recruiting and telling people about the network. And he himself brought in some members with a
Yes.
good reason.
And
So.
and again, you can subscribe anytime. So we're here. We appreciate all the love that you give us.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a fantastic, fantastic week of sports that we'll recap on Friday, along with the new top five that
Yeah.
we're doing.
I've been hearing, I listen in because I'm usually out with my kids on the ball field at this time. So I'm always having in one ear. These top fives are great. They're
Yeah.
creative. Listen.
I half-ass it. Bill does a better job with the top fives than I do, but it's like,
Dan's honest.
God damn. Anything on the dugout?
Dugout still, we're sitting here waiting. PSA, will you get my Francisco Lindor back, please?
God, I'll show you something that Mark gave me a while back, and I'm really counting on his Phillies to, really lock in. This Don Mattingly uh baseball card.
It's great when you have a guy as good as me who has a card company and cares about the people who get the cards because I know they're not going to sell them. They're for them.
Like I didn't see Don Mattingly play in my lifetime, but I've watched so many highlights of his. It was just incredible stuff. He was a tremendous ball player. He should be a Hall of Famer, but he's not because baseball sucks. Um, you know, but no, again, just one of the very few things that, of course, you can get from the incredible Mark Halperin. Um, we'll see you for batter up, obviously, and of
Yeah.
course throughout the
Sunday.
week.
Yep.
You know,
You might see, Halpern uninterrupted. It comes on and off. You never know when it can come out.
yeah. Mark also writes for the network, so please check out his writing, sportscenternetwork.com. You can check out Rifkin and his writing and all the great content that we put out across everywhere. Follow us on our socials at Sincerity Real, Facebook, X, wherever. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you. And we'll talk to you sometime this week.